My beloved child, there are moments in your life when time feels ordinary, when minutes pass like soft wind through open fields. But this is not one of those moments. There are 11 minutes left. I would not wait. I am calling you to open immediately, because what stands before you cannot be delayed. You feel it, don't you? That quiet stirring in your chest. That sense that something is shifting, something unseen pressing gently but firmly against the door of your heart. You have been waiting for a sign, wondering if this is the day things change, if this is the hour your long prayer begins to unfold. I tell you now, my beloved child, this is not coincidence. This is not random timing. This is divine interruption. There are seasons when I allow you to walk slowly, to learn patience, to grow in endurance. But there are also sacred moments when I move swiftly, when I say now, when hesitation could cost you peace, when delay could allow fear to speak louder than my voice. And I love you too deeply to let fear speak over you any longer. 11 minutes left is not about panic. It is about purpose. It is about a window opening in the spirit realm, a doorway of grace standing before you. You have asked me to move. You have cried in the quiet of night, asking for breakthrough, for clarity, for relief from the weight you carry. And now that I am at the door, I will not stand outside forever. Not because I am impatient, but because the blessing waiting for you is time-sensitive. Imagine a father standing outside his child's room while a storm approaches. He does not knock casually. He does not whisper timidly. He calls with urgency because he sees what the child cannot yet see. I see what is forming around you. I see what is trying to discourage you. And I also see the miracle I have prepared just beyond this threshold. My beloved child, I would not wait because your heart has lingered long enough in uncertainty. You have circled the same mountain of doubt. You have questioned whether you are ready, whether you are worthy, whether you heard me correctly. And I am here to tell you that this moment is not about your perfection. It is about your response. Open immediately. Open your trust. Open your expectation. Open your weary hands that have grown tired of holding disappointment. I am not coming to rebuke you. I am not coming to expose your weakness. I am coming to step into your situation with power and tenderness. There are 11 minutes left, not to frighten you, but to awaken you. This is the hour of decision. This is the second when hesitation breaks and faith rises. My beloved child, listen closely. The knock you hear is not threat. It is promise. And I am speaking because I refuse to let you miss what I have already set in motion for you. My beloved child, listen carefully now, for the sound you have been hearing is not your imagination. It is my knock. Not hurry, not violent, not filled with anger. It is steady, patient, and full of love. I do not break down doors. I do not force my way into your life. I knock because I honor your will. I knock because love always waits for invitation. The door I stand before is not made of wood or steel. It is the door of your heart, the hidden chambers of your thoughts, the quiet places where you store your fears and your dreams. I see the rooms you keep tidy for others to see, and I also see the rooms you have locked away, the ones marked with pain, regret, or disappointment. And still, I knock. You have asked me to come closer. You have whispered prayers when no one else was listening. You have said, God, where are you? Why does it feel like you are silent? My beloved child, I was never silent. I was preparing the moment. I was aligning events, moving unseen pieces into place. And now that everything stands ready, I am at your door. Some knocks in life bring anxiety. A late night pounding can make your heart race. But my knock carries peace. Even in its urgency, there is calm. Even in its firmness, there is tenderness. You may feel your pulse quicken, not because danger is near, but because destiny is. There have been times before when I knocked and you hesitated, not out of rebellion, but out of uncertainty. You wondered if you were hearing correctly. You questioned whether you were strong enough for what might follow. So you waited. And in waiting, you sometimes allowed doubt to grow louder than faith. Yet I did not leave you. I circled back. I prepared you more deeply. I strengthened you quietly. Imagine a child sitting inside a small house during a heavy rain. The sky darkens, thunder rolls, and the child pulls a blanket closer, unsure of what to do. Outside, the father arrives with a lantern, knocking gently, calling the child to open so he can bring warmth and safety inside. The child might hesitate, unsure if it is truly safe to unlatch the door. But the father knows the storm will grow stronger. His knock is not to frighten, but to protect. My beloved child, I see the storm clouds that you sense but cannot fully define. The worries about your future, the tension in your relationships, the quiet exhaustion in your spirit. I am not knocking to add more weight to you. I am knocking to lift the weight off you. When I say I would not wait, it is because delay feeds fear. When you delay opening your heart to my instruction, to my comfort, to my direction, you leave space for anxiety to whisper lies. But when you open immediately, you allow my light to flood in before darkness can settle. The door may feel heavy. It may be reinforced by past hurt. You may think, but if I open and nothing changes. But I tell you this, when I stand at your door, change is already in motion. My presence alone shifts atmospheres. My voice alone calms chaos. My entry brings order where confusion once ruled. You do not need to clean the house of your heart before inviting me in. You do not need to rearrange your thoughts or polish your faith. I come as I am, and I ask you to receive me as I am. I am not intimidated by your mess. I am not repelled by your weakness. I am drawn to it, because that is where my strength rests most beautifully. So hear the knock again, my beloved child. It is rhythmic. It is deliberate. It is filled with promise. Each sound is a reminder, I am near. I am ready. I am willing. The question is not whether I will enter. The question is whether you will open. And I am still here, waiting with love, but not for long. My beloved child, you may still be wondering why I speak with such urgency. Why I say there are 11 minutes left. Why I tell you that I would not wait. Let me draw you closer and explain, not with fear, but with love. There are moments in your life that are like open windows during harvest season. If the farmer delays too long, the rain can spoil the grain. If he hesitates, the fruit may fall and rot on the ground. The season itself is a gift, but it is also fragile. In the same way, I have opened a window of grace before you. It is wide right now. It is bright. It is ready. But it will not remain open forever. I would not wait because your breakthrough stands on the other side of obedience. Not heavy obedience. Not burdensome duty. But a simple, trusting yes. You have prayed for change. You have cried for relief. You have asked me to shift what has felt stuck. And now that the shift is here, I cannot let you sleep through it. There was once a traveler who prayed for rescue while lost in a forest. He was cold and afraid, unsure which path would lead him home. As he prayed, he heard a distant call guiding him toward a narrow trail. But the trail looked uncertain. It seemed steep and unfamiliar. Toby hesitated. You waited for a clearer sign. By the time he decided to follow the voice, darkness had already deepened, and the journey became harder than it needed to be. My beloved child, I do not tell you this to accuse you. I tell you because I love you. I would not wait because I see what is forming ahead. I see the opportunity aligned perfectly with your calling. I see the conversation that will unlock favor. I see the decision that will break a cycle that has followed you for years. And if you delay, you risk allowing doubt to steal what faith could secure. My urgency is protection. My urgency is mercy. My urgency is the hand of a father pulling his child out of harm before the danger even appears. You think you are deciding about small things, but I see the threads that connect those small decisions to larger destinies. I know you fear making the wrong move. I know you worry that acting too quickly could lead to regret. But when I am the one speaking, obedience does not produce regret. It produces alignment, and alignment produces peace. So when I say open immediately, I am not rushing you into chaos. I am inviting you into order. I am not pushing you toward confusion. I am guiding you into clarity. The enemy thrives in delay. Fear grows roots in hesitation, but faith blossoms in response. My beloved child, this is the hour when your response matters. This is the minute when courage outweighs comfort. You do not need to see the entire staircase. You only need to step onto the first step I illuminate. And as these words settle into your spirit, if you feel the weight of this urgency, if you sense that I am truly speaking to you right now, do not keep this message to yourself. If these words have stirred your heart, bless this message with a like, and share it with 3 souls who may also be standing before their own unopened door. Hype this video so it can rise and reach more hearts who are waiting for my knock. Subscribe to this channel so you can continue receiving these moments of divine interruption. When you respond, you are not supporting a platform. You are helping my voice travel farther into the night where someone else is praying for an answer. My beloved child, I would not wait because I know the value of this moment. I know how close you are, and I refuse to let hesitation steal what heaven has already prepared for you. My beloved child, you have heard that there are 11 minutes left, and you now understand that urgency is love in motion. Do not let this moment pass without sealing it with action. When you sow into this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are not giving to a screen. You are sowing seed into fertile soil that carries my word into hearts standing at their own unopened doors. As I have said, give, and it shall be given unto you. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over, and I speak that promise over you now. Your generosity becomes oil in the lamp so the light does not go out in the midnight hour. What you release becomes a river that flows beyond your sight, watering souls you may never meet. This is your divine appointment within these 11 minutes. If your heart has whispered, I want to help, know that it is I who stirred it. I will multiply what you place in my hands and guard what concerns you. Act now, sow, support, and let my voice travel farther tonight. My beloved child, there is a battle unfolding around you that your natural eyes cannot fully perceive. You measure your days by what happens in front of you, by messages received, doors that open or close, conversations that go well or fall apart. But beyond what you can see, there are movements in the unseen realm that are directly connected to your destiny. What feels like ordinary resistance is often something much deeper. You have sensed it, haven't you? That strange pressure when you are about to take a step forward. That wave of doubt that seems to rise at the exact moment you begin to feel hope again. That sudden heaviness that whispers, wait. Maybe not now. Maybe you are mistaken. My beloved child, those whispers are not coming from me. There are forces that attempt to delay you, not because you are weak, but because you are valuable. No one attacks an empty house. No one guards a field with no harvest. The intensity you feel is proof that what lies within you matters. Your obedience carries weight. Your decision to open the door carries consequences that ripple far beyond what you understand. When I told you there are 11 minutes left, it was not simply about urgency. It was about timing within this unseen battle. Here are moments when heaven aligns in precise order. Conversations are prepared. Opportunities are softened. Hearts are made ready. But opposition also recognizes those moments, and it tries to cloud your clarity just long enough to cause hesitation. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast valley. From where you stand, you see only fog. You cannot see the armies positioned beyond the mist. Yet high above, I see every movement. I see the strategies forming against you. I see the lies being crafted, and I have already countered them. I have already positioned protection around you. I have already declared your path secure. Still, you must participate. You must choose. You must open the door. The enemy of your peace works subtly. It does not always shout. Sometimes it gently plants questions. What if this failed? What if you are embarrassed? What if nothing changes? These questions seem harmless, even logical. But if entertained too long, they become chains. And chains are forged in delay. My beloved child, hesitation is often the battlefield itself. The struggle you feel inside is the clash between fear and faith. Fear wants proof before movement. Faith moves because I have spoken. Fear demands guarantees. Faith trusts my character. You may think this battle is about a small decision, a conversation, a step of obedience that feels almost insignificant. But in the unseen realm, small acts of obedience dismantle large strongholds. One courageous yes can silence years of accusation. One immediate response can break a cycle that has followed your family for generations. The heaviness you have carried lately is not a sign that you are failing. It is the pressure of transition. When a door is about to open, hinges strain. When chains are about to snap, tension increases. The discomfort is temporary. The freedom is lasting. I am fighting for you in ways you cannot comprehend. I am redirecting harm. I am confusing plans that were meant to discourage you. I am strengthening allies you have not yet met. Even now, as you listen, movements are taking place on your behalf. But hear me clearly, my beloved child. I will not fight your will. I will defend you, protect you, empower you, but I will not override your choice. That is why I urge you. That is why I speak with holy urgency. Because your response activates what I have already prepared. Do not interpret resistance as rejection. Do not assume difficulty means you are on the wrong path. Often, the fiercest opposition guards the greatest promise. If there were nothing ahead for you, there would be no battle to fight. Stand steady. Breathe deeply. Remember who walks with you. The battle you cannot see is not a threat meant to scare you. It is evidence that your life carries significance. And I have never lost a battle over one of my children. So when you feel the tension rise, let it remind you that something powerful is near. When doubt tries to speak, answer it with trust. When fear tries to delay you, open the door anyway. Victory is closer than you think. And in the unseen realm, it has already begun. My beloved child, there are moments in your life that are like open windows in a long, quiet house. For a season, the air moves freely. Light pours in without resistance. The atmosphere shifts, and everything inside begins to feel different. But windows are not meant to remain open forever. They are invitations. They are opportunities. And right now, you are standing before a window of favor that I have opened for you. This is not ordinary timing. This is not random alignment. This is a divine convergence of preparation and possibility. I have been arranging this moment long before you recognized it. The struggles you endured were not pointless. The waiting you resented was not wasted. Each delay strengthened the frame around this very window. A farmer understands this principle well. He cannot harvest whatever he feels ready. He must move when the crop is ready. If he waits too long, the grain spoils. If he acts too early, the fruit is unripe. There is a narrow space between too soon and too late. That space is called favor. And you, my beloved child, are standing inside it. You may not feel ready. You may believe there is war you need to fix, more you need to learn, more confidence you need to build. But readiness is not always a feeling. Sometimes readiness is simply obedience meeting opportunity. The window does not open because you are perfect. It opens because I have declared the time is right. This is why I said I would not wait. Because favor is precious. It is a sacred alignment of unseen forces. It is when hearts soften at the right moment. It is when doors unlock that once seemed sealed shut. It is when courage rises just enough for you to step forward. But favor must be received. It cannot be forced open later once it has passed. Think of a sailboat resting on still waters. For hours, the air may remain calm. The sailor waits patiently, knowing movement depends on wind. Then suddenly, a strong and steady breeze arrives. The wise sailor does not remain anchored, analyzing the wind. He lifts the sails immediately. He trusts the movement. If he hesitates, the wind may shift, and the moment will fade. My beloved child, the wind is blowing. You have prayed for momentum. You have asked me to shift stagnation in your life. You have grown weary of standing still while watching others move ahead. And now that I am sending movement your way, do not cling to the dock of familiarity. Do not remain anchored in comfort simply because it feels safe. Favor may not look dramatic at first. It may appear as a simple conversation, a gentle nudge, a decision that seems small. But within that small act is multiplied impact. Within that step is acceleration. Within that obedience is restoration. I am not asking you to rush blindly. I am asking you to trust the timing. The window is open because I have positioned it so. The breeze is steady because I have released it. And the path ahead is clearer than you think. Do not measure this moment by past disappointments. Those were different seasons. Those were fields that needed more tending. This is a ripened harvest. This is a prepared door. This is a sacred opening that has been waiting for your response. My beloved child, when windows of favor open, they bring more than opportunity. They bring expansion. They stretch your faith. They enlarge your vision. They carry you into spaces you once thought were beyond your reach. But you must move while it is open. Lift your sails. Step toward the light. Say yes while the air is still moving around you. I have aligned this hour with precision. I have timed it with intention. And I would not speak with urgency unless the window before you was real. The favor you have prayed for is here. The opportunity you hoped would come has arrived. And the only thing left is your willingness to step into it before the window gently closes. My beloved child, as you stand before this open window of favor, I see something else trying to rise within you. It is subtle, but it is strong. It is the tremor in your thoughts that asks, what if I fail? What if I misheard? What if this urgency is only my imagination? Let me speak clearly into that trembling place. Fear is not from me. I do not rush you with panic. I do not press you with confusion. When I move quickly, I move with clarity. My urgency carries peace within it. It feels steady, even when it calls you forward. Fear, on the other hand, feels chaotic. It feels loud. It speaks in worst-case scenarios and magnifies every possible mistake. You must learn to recognize the difference. Fear tells you to stay where you are because at least it is familiar. Fear convinces you that discomfort equals danger. Fear wraps itself in logic and calls itself wisdom. But wisdom from me does not paralyze you. It empowers you. It may stretch you, but it does not suffocate you. My beloved child, think of a young eagle standing at the edge of its nest for the first time. The sky is vast. The ground is far below. Everything in the young eagle trembles. The wind brushes against its wings, inviting movement. Fear whispers, stay. The nest is safe. But instinct, placed there by me, whispers something deeper. You are made for this. When I call you to open the door immediately, it is not because I want you to leap recklessly. It is because the wind beneath your wings is already present. The support you need is already prepared. The fear you feel is not a sign to retreat. It is the final barrier between where you have been and where you are meant to soar. You have confused fear with caution for too long. Caution is calm. It observes. It listens. It moves thoughtfully. Fear, however, is frantic. It repeats the same anxious thought again and again. It makes your heart race without giving you direction. That frantic voice is not mine. When I speak, even if my words carry urgency, they are rooted in assurance. There is a quiet strength in my instruction. There is a foundation beneath it. You may feel nervous, but deep inside, you also feel a strange steadiness. That steadiness is my signature. My beloved child, you have survived every fearful prediction your mind once believed. There were days you were certain would break you, yet here you stand. There were moments you thought you could not endure, yet you endured them. Fear promised destruction. I delivered preservation. Do not let old fear dictate new obedience. The enemy of your progress uses fear as a gatekeeper. It stands at the entrance of every new season, hoping you will turn back. It exaggerates risk and minimizes reward. It magnifies your weakness and ignores my strength within you. But fear has no authority unless you grant it one. I have not given you a spirit that shrinks from opportunity. I have placed courage in you like a seed waiting to sprout. Courage is not the absence of trembling. It is the decision to move while trembling. It is opening the door even when your hands shake. You ask, what if I open and things change too quickly? My beloved child, things are already changing. The only question is whether you will change with them. Fear wants to freeze you in an outdated version of yourself. But I am calling you forward into growth. The peace you seek is not found in avoidance. It is found in alignment. And alignment requires movement. So when fear begins to whisper, answer it with truth. When doubt attempts to cloud your clarity, return to my voice. Feel the difference. My voice steadies you. My presence calms you. Even when I say, now, there is love wrapped around the command. Fear is not from me. Courage is. And I am closer than your breath, guiding you step by step as you choose to open the door and walk into what I have prepared. My beloved child, let me tell you a story so you may see yourself not with shame, but with understanding. There was once a watchman assigned to guard the gates of a small city. He was faithful and sincere. Every night, he climbed the tower and scanned the horizon. He knew his duty was important. He knew the safety of many rested in his awareness. For many nights, nothing unusual happened. The skies were clear. The land was quiet. And slowly, without realizing it, the watchman grew comfortable. One evening, as the sun dipped below the hills, a faint signal fire appeared in the distance. It flickered softly, almost blending into the fading light. The watchman saw it, but he hesitated. Perhaps it is nothing, he thought. Perhaps I am imagining it. The wind was calm. The city below was peaceful. He did not want to cause alarm unnecessarily. So he waited. As he waited, the small flicker grew slightly brighter. Still, it was not overwhelming. It did not scream danger. It simply persisted. The watchman felt a stirring in his spirit, a quiet nudge that told him to act. Yet doubt crept in. What if I am wrong? What if I wake everyone for nothing? His mind began to argue with the whisper in his heart. Moments passed. The signal fire brightened further. Now it was undeniable. But because he had delayed, the warning came later than it should have. The city had less time to prepare than it might have had. Though the danger was eventually managed, the delay made the struggle harder. My beloved child, this story is not about condemnation. It is about awareness. You are not a careless watchman. You are a growing one. And there have been times when you sensed me signaling you, gently at first, and you questioned whether it was truly my voice. You did not ignore me out of rebellion. You hesitated out of uncertainty. I understand your hesitation. I know the fear of being wrong. I know the weight of responsibility you feel when your decisions affect more than just yourself. But I tell you now, when I place a signal in your spirit, it is not to confuse you. It is to protect you and prepare you. The signal fire in your life right now is not destructive. It is instructive. It is not there to frighten you. It is there to awaken you. I am lighting clarity on the horizon of your future. I am showing you that something is approaching, something that requires your attention and response. If the watchman had acted at the first flicker, the city would have had more time, more readiness, more peace in the preparation. Delay did not destroy the city, but it intensified the challenge. My beloved child, I desire ease for you where possible. I desire smooth transitions, not unnecessary struggle. When I say there are 11 minutes left, it is my loving way of saying, act while the signal is still small. Move while preparation is simple. Respond while peace can guide you. You have grown since the last time you hesitated. You have matured in discernment. You have learned to distinguish my whisper from your worry. And this time, you are not the same watchman as before. This time, you recognize the flicker more quickly. This time, you feel the urgency with greater clarity. Do not let the memory of past hesitation define this moment. The story of the sleeping watchman is not your destiny. It is your lesson. And lessons are gifts when received with humility. The signal is before you again. Not with panic, but with purpose. Not with chaos, but with clarity. The light on the horizon is steady. The nudge in your spirit is gentle but firm. Rise to the tower of your awareness. Trust what I am showing you. Speak when I tell you to speak. Move when I tell you to move. Let this be the moment when you respond at the first flicker instead of the last flame. My beloved child, I'm teaching you to act in alignment with my timing. And when you do, the city of your life will stand stronger, steadier, and more prepared than ever before. My beloved child, nothing about this hour is accidental. You may feel as though you simply arrived here through a series of ordinary days, but I tell you the truth. I have been preparing this moment long before you recognized it. Every tear you shed, every prayer you whispered, every closed door that disappointed you was shaping the path that now lies before you. You often measure preparation by visible progress. You think you are ready only when you see clear results, steady growth, and confident strength. But my preparation works differently. I shape you in hidden places. I build endurance through waiting. I deepen your wisdom through silence. What felt like delay was actually development. Think of a sculptor standing before a block of stone. To an untrained eye, the hammer and chisel seem destructive. Jibs fall away. Dust scatters. The stone appears smaller with each strike. But the sculptor sees what others cannot. He sees the form within. He knows exactly where to strike and where to leave untouched. When he steps back, what remains is not diminished stone, but revealed beauty. My beloved child, the strikes you experienced were not meant to break you. They were meant to shape you. The disappointments that once made you question my timing were chisels in my hand. The seasons of loneliness carved depth into your heart. The seasons of confusion sharpened your discernment. The seasons of loss taught you what truly matters. You wondered why certain opportunities did not work out. You questioned why certain relationships ended. You asked why certain prayers seemed unanswered. Yet if those paths had remained open, you would not be standing in this precise alignment today. I closed some doors because they would have led you away from this moment of favor. When I say there are 11 minutes left, I am not introducing something sudden. I'm unveiling something long prepared. The foundation beneath this opportunity has been laid carefully. I have been aligning circumstances behind the scenes. I have been softening hearts you will soon encounter. I have been strengthening you in ways you barely noticed. You are not as fragile as you once were. You are not as easily shaken. The storms you survived built resilience within you. The betrayals you endured taught you caution without bitterness. The mistakes you made taught you humility without despair. All of it has prepared you. Imagine a runner training for a race he does not yet know is scheduled. Day after day, he rises early, strengthening his body, pushing his limits. He may not see a competition on the calendar, but his preparation is not wasted. Then suddenly, the race is announced. Because of his hidden discipline, he is ready. My beloved child, this is your announcement. The race is before you. The door is open. The window of favor is aligned, and you are more prepared than you realize. Do not disqualify yourself because you still feel imperfect. Preparation does not mean flawlessness. It means readiness in spirit. It means your heart had been softened enough to trust me. It means your faith has been stretched enough to move when I say move. Even the pain you thought disqualified you has become qualification. Your empathy grew through suffering. Your compassion expanded through loss. Your patience deepened through waiting. These are not weaknesses. They are strengths that will carry you into the next season. I have woven your past into your present with precision. Nothing was wasted. Not the tears. Not the confusion. Not even the mistakes. I redeemed what you thought ruined you. I turned lessons into tools. I turned scars into wisdom. So when fear tries to say, "You are not ready," answer it with truth. You have been in preparation longer than you think. You have been shaped intentionally. You have been positioned strategically. My beloved child, I would not call you to open the door if I had not already prepared both you and what lies beyond it. Trust the process that brought you here. Trust the shaping you endured. Trust the unseen hands that arranged this hour. This moment did not appear suddenly. It has been crafted carefully. And now that preparation has met opportunity, it is time for you to step forward and receive what I have been building for you all along. My beloved child, now we come to something deeper. The door before you is not only about opportunity, it is also about healing. And if you are honest, part of your hesitation is not about readiness or timing. It is about memory. You have opened doors before and been disappointed. You have trusted before and been hurt. You have stepped forward in hope only to find yourself standing in heartbreak. So now, even when I knock with love, a quiet voice inside you whispers, "Be careful. Protect yourself. Do not risk feeling that pain again." I understand why you feel this way. I was there when your trust was broken. I was there when your effort was not appreciated. I was there when promises spoken to you dissolved into silence. None of it escaped my sight. None of it was dismissed by me. Your wounds are not invisible to me. But my beloved child, the door you are afraid to open now is not the same door from your past. The rooms you entered before were shaped by human limitation. The disappointments you faced were influenced by fragile hearts and imperfect timing. What I am placing before you now is different because I am the one leading you through it. Imagine a child who once touched a hot stove and was burned. The next time he sees a stove, he recoils, fearing pain again. The memory of injury becomes stronger than the reality of the present moment. Yet not every stove is burning. Not every surface carries harm. Wisdom remembers the lesson without imprisoning the future. You have learned caution through experience. That is not wrong. But do not let caution turn into captivity. Do not let old pain define new possibilities. The enemy of your progress uses your history against you. It replays memories in your mind, magnifying the moments when things fell apart. It says, "Remember what happened last time. It will happen again." But I say to you, you are not standing in last time. You are standing in now. The door before you may look similar to past doors. It may require vulnerability. It may require trust. It may require stepping into uncertainty. But this time, you are not walking alone. This time, you are listening more closely. This time, you are responding to my voice, not merely your own ambition or someone else's persuasion. My beloved child, healing often hides behind the very door you fear to open. The conversation you avoid may bring closure. The opportunity you hesitate to accept may restore confidence. The step you resist may finally break the pattern that has repeated for years. You cannot protect yourself from all pain by staying still. Sometimes staying still prolongs it. Sometimes the wound remains tender because it has not been exposed to my healing light. I am not asking you to forget what happened. I am asking you to trust that I have grown you since then. You are wiser now. You discern more clearly. You recognize red flags more quickly. And above all, you are more aware of my guidance. The fear you feel is understandable, but it is not authoritative. It does not get the final word. I do. When I knock on this door, I am not leading you back into the same trap. I am leading you forward into restoration. What was once a source of pain can become a place of strength. What once weakened you can now reveal how much you have matured. My beloved child, do not confuse familiarity with safety. Sometimes what feels safe is only familiar suffering. True safety is found in alignment with me. The door you have been afraid to open carries both risk and reward. But the greater risk now is remaining frozen because of yesterday. I have not brought you this far to leave you trapped in old memories. Take a deep breath. Feel my presence steadying you. The hand that reaches for the handle is not alone. I am guiding it. I am guarding you. I am shaping what awaits on the other side. This is not a repetition of your past. This is a redemption of it. And when you open this door, you will discover that healing was waiting behind it all along. My beloved child, you have lingered at this level long enough. Not because you are incapable, not because you have failed, but because growth requires a moment of decision. And this is that moment. I am calling you higher. Higher does not always mean louder or more visible. It does not always mean applause or recognition. Higher means deeper trust. Higher means clearer obedience. Higher means stepping into a perspective that rises above fear, above old patterns, above the comfort of what you have already mastered. You have grown comfortable surviving. You have learned how to endure. You have learned how to cope with disappointment, how to manage anxiety, how to push through difficult days. But I did not create you merely to survive. I created you to flurry. To go higher, you must release the weight that keeps you grounded. An eagle cannot soar while clinging to stones. A climber cannot reach the summit while refusing to leave the valley. And you, my beloved child, cannot step into the fullness of what I prepared if you insist on carrying yesterday's limitations into tomorrow's promise. You may ask, what does higher look like? It looks like responding when I speak instead of waiting for perfect conditions. It looks like choosing faith even when your feelings lag behind. It looks like forgiving when bitterness feels justified. It looks like acting with courage while your voice still trembles. Higher is not about pride. It is about alignment. There are conversations you have postponed because you feared discomfort. There are dreams you have quietly buried because you doubted your worthiness. There are steps you sensed I was asking you to take, yet you told yourself, maybe later. My beloved child, later has become a hiding place. And I love you too much to let you hide from your own calling. When I say there are 11 minutes left, it is not only about urgency. It is about elevation. The opportunity before you is a staircase. Each step may feel small, but together they lift you into new territory. The first step is obedience. The next is trust. The next is perseverance. And I will not ask you to climb alone. You fear the height because you imagine falling. But I see you rising. I see strength in you that you have not yet acknowledged. I see leadership where you see inadequacy. I see influence where you see insignificance. You judge yourself by your past mistakes. I measure you by your redeemed potential. My beloved child, the view changes as you ascend. Problems that once felt overwhelming begin to shrink in perspective. What seemed impossible from the ground looks manageable from above. Going higher with me shifts not only your circumstances, but your understanding. You cannot remain where you are and become who you are meant to be at the same time. Growth demands movement. Elevation demands surrender. But what awaits you above is worth every step. So stand up in your spirit. Straighten your shoulders. Release the excuses that have comforted you. I am calling you higher, not to exhaust you, but to expand you. Not to overwhelm you, but to empower you. And if you feel this call stirring within you, if you sense that I am lifting your vision even now, do not keep this awakening to yourself. If these words are igniting courage in your heart, bless this message with a like so it may rise and reach others who are ready to ascend. Share it with 3 souls who have been standing at the edge of their own elevation. Hype this video so it can travel farther and awaken more hearts. Subscribe to this channel so you continue receiving these calls to rise. When you do, you are helping my voice echo into places where someone is waiting for the courage to climb. My beloved child, I am calling you higher. The staircase is before you. The strength is within you. And I am above you and beside you, guiding every upward step. My beloved child, I have called you higher, and elevation requires participation. When you rise, you lift others with you. Supporting this mission through Super Thanks membership, where the PayPal link in the description is not a transaction, it is a step onto the staircase of impact. As an eagle catches the wind, your giving becomes the wind beneath another weary soul. I declare over you, those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed, and I breathe that refreshing over your house now. This is not about money. It is about manna falling where hunger cries out in the dark. If you have felt the stirring to do more, that stirring is my invitation. Do not delay at this level. There are still minutes left, and they matter. I will honor the hand that releases and expand the territory of the one who trusts me. Rise higher, give boldly, join, support, and step into multiplication now. My beloved child, there are patterns in your life that did not begin with you. There are cycles that have quietly repeated themselves through years, sometimes even through generations. You have noticed them. The same type of disappointment, the same kind of fear, the same struggle that seems to return just when you believe it is finally gone. You have asked yourself, why does this keep happening? Why do I find myself here again? And at times you have blamed yourself completely. At other times, you have blamed circumstances. But today, I want you to see something greater. The cycle is not your identity. It is simply a pattern waiting to be interrupted. When I say there are 11 minutes left, I am also saying there is a breaking point approaching. Not a breaking of you, but a breaking of what has tried to hold you in repetition. Cycles continue when they go unchallenged. They weaken when confronted with awareness and obedience. Imagine a family that has always believed they are limited. For years they speak the same words. This is just how we are. This is just our reality. And so the pattern repeats. But one day, one member of that family dares to believe differently. Its single shift of belief alters decisions. It alters conversations. It alters outcomes. The cycle begins to crack. My beloved child, you are that person. The hesitation you feel right now is not just about this moment. It is about whether you will continue walking the familiar road or choose a new path. The familiar road may feel safer because you know its turns. Even its disappointments are predictable. But I did not create you for predictable pain. I created you for purposeful freedom. Breaking a cycle does not require dramatic strength. It requires a single act of obedience, a different response, a new decision, a refusal to let fear dictate your direction. You may think the step I am asking you to take is small, but small steps in a new direction lead to entirely new destinations. You have inherited some beliefs that do not belong to you. Beliefs about your worth. Beliefs about your limitations. Beliefs about how much joy you are allowed to experience. Today, I am inviting you to release them. You are not bound by the expectations of your past. You are not confined to the narrative that was handed to you. When you open the door I am knocking on, you are not only stepping into opportunity, you are stepping out of repetition. You are declaring, through action, that the old cycle no longer has authority over your future. The enemy hopes you will say, "This is just how it always goes." It wants you to accept frustration as normal. It wants you to believe that progress is temporary and setbacks are permanent. But I tell you the truth. What has been repeating can be broken. There is power in this present moment. Not because of emotion, not because of hype, but because you are aware. Awareness is the beginning of freedom. You see the pattern now. You recognize the familiar pull. And you have a choice. My beloved child, you are not powerless. You are positioned. Positioned to respond differently. Positioned to speak differently. Positioned to move differently. The chain that has wrapped around your family, your mindset, or your circumstances is thinner than you think. But chains do not fall off without a decision. This is the hour to interrupt what has interrupted your peace. This is the minute to shift what has limited your growth. When you choose obedience over hesitation, you send a signal through your entire life. The cycle ends here. You may not see immediate fireworks. You may not feel an instant transformation. But in the unseen realm, a crack will form. And once a crack appears, collapse is only a matter of time. My beloved child, I am not asking you to fight alone. I am standing with you in this interruption. I am strengthening your resolve. I am guiding your steps. Break the cycle now. Open the door. Step into the new path. And watch how what once repeated begins to retreat, because you finally chose to move forward. My beloved child, there is a sacred power hidden in immediate obedience, a strength that does not shout yet moves mountains quietly. You often think power must be loud, dramatic, or visible to others. But the kind of power I am speaking of is subtle and transformative. It is the power that shifts your destiny in a single yes. It is the power that realigns your path in one courageous step. When you obey me immediately, you enter into rhythm with my timing. You stop resisting the current of grace and begin flowing with it. Delay creates friction. Obedience creates harmony. And harmony with my will brings peace that surpasses understanding. You have been conditioned to analyze everything, to calculate risk, to seek approval, to wait for ideal conditions. But immediate obedience is not carelessness. It is confidence in my character. It is saying, I trust the one who sees what I cannot. It is placing your next step into hands that have never dropped you. Consider a musician playing in an orchestra. When the conductor lifts his baton, the musician must respond at once. If he hesitates even slightly, the melody is disrupted. The harmony falters. But when he follows the conductor's cue instantly, the music flows beautifully. My beloved child, I am your conductor. When I lift my hand and whisper move, it is because the symphony of your life is reaching a critical note. Immediate obedience protects you from overthinking. The longer you sit with a clear instruction from me, the louder competing voices become. Doubt begins to argue. Fear starts listing possible failures. Pride suggests waiting for a better moment. But the clearest moment is often the first one. You may say, but what if I misunderstand you? Hear me gently now. I am more committed to guiding you than you are to getting it right. If your heart is sincere and your desire is to follow me, I can redirect you if needed. I can adjust your path. I can close a door gently if it was not meant for you. But I cannot move you forward if you refuse to move at all. A ship at sea is easier to steer when it is already in motion. A ship anchored in fear resists direction. Immediate obedience sets your life in motion. It gives me room to guide you through active trust rather than passive hesitation. There was once a young woman who felt a quiet prompting to call an old friend she had not spoken to in years. He dismissed the thought at first. It seemed random. But the nudge persisted. Instead of delaying, she acted immediately. When her friend answered, she discovered that he was in deep despair and had been praying for a sign that someone cared. Her simple act of obedience became an answer to his prayer. You rarely see the full impact of your obedience. What seems small to you may be monumental to someone else. What feels insignificant may shift an unseen chain of events. My beloved child, obedience also strengthens your spiritual muscles. Each time you respond quickly, your sensitivity to my voice increases. Your confidence in hearing me grows. A distance between my whisper and your action shortens. That is intimacy. Delay, however, dulls that sensitivity. It trains your heart to ignore promptings. It teaches your mind to negotiate with conviction. Over time, hesitation can become habit, and habit can harden into resistance. I am not asking you to obey out of fear of consequences. I am inviting you to obey out of love and trust. Immediate obedience is not about proving devotion. It is about participating in alignment. It is about allowing heaven's timing to intersect with your earthly steps. When I say there are 11 minutes left, I am reminding you that clarity has an expiration if ignored. Not because I withdraw love, but because moments pass. Opportunities shift. Windows close gently. Act while your heart is still tender. Speak while courage is rising. Step forward while the path is illuminated. In immediate obedience, you will find freedom from overanalysis. You will discover peace in movement. And you will witness how quickly circumstances begin to align when your yes meets my call. Trust me enough to move. Trust me enough to respond. In that swift obedience, you will encounter a power that carries you farther than hesitation ever could. My beloved child, there is something that has weighed heavily on your heart, even as you listen to my voice calling you forward. It is the quiet grief over lost time, the years you believe you wasted, the opportunities you think you missed, the seasons when you feel you should have moved faster, chosen wiser, acted sooner. You look back and see detours. You remember moments of hesitation. You replay decisions and imagine how different life might look if only you had responded differently. And sometimes, that regret becomes a chain, convincing you that you are now behind, permanently delayed, forever trying to catch up. Let me speak truth into that weary place within you. You are not behind. Time, as you measure it, is not the same as time in my hands. What feels lost to you is not lost to me. I am not bound by your calendar. I am not limited by your missed chances. I am able to compress what you think will take years into moments of acceleration. Imagine a field that lay barren for seasons. No crops grew. No harvest came. To the farmer, it seemed like wasted land. But beneath the surface, the soil was being enriched. Nutrients were settling. Strength was building. When the right seed was finally planted, the growth was explosive, faster and fuller than anyone expected. My beloved child, some of your quiet seasons were not wasted. They were preparing your soil. The waiting strengthened your roots. The silence deepened your dependence on me. The mistakes you regret became lessons that refined your judgment. Even your wrong turns taught you roads to avoid in the future. You think in terms of linear progress. You believe life must unfold in a straight line. But I weave redemption into every curve. I can take a decision that delayed you and turn it into wisdom that advances you beyond where you would have been. I can restore confidence that was shattered. I can rebuild trust that was broken. I can accelerate growth that seemed stagnant. You are not disqualified because of yesterday. You are positioned because of what yesterday taught you. There was once a man who spent years wandering without direction. He tried different paths, chased different ambitions, and ended each attempt discouraged. When he finally surrendered and listened to my guidance, he feared it was too late. He believed others had already surpassed him. Yet within a short span of time, doors opened rapidly. Opportunities aligned. His earlier wandering gave him insight that others lacked. What he thought had been wasted years became the very foundation for his success. My beloved child, restoration is not merely about returning what was lost. It is about multiplying it. When I restore, I do not simply give back what you had. I add depth, clarity, and purpose to it. I redeem not only outcomes, but understanding. The enemy whispers that you missed your moment, that the 11 minutes have already passed, that you should have acted sooner. But hear me clearly. If I am speaking to you now, then this is your moment. The fact that you are aware means opportunity is still alive. Regret tries to freeze you in reflection, but restoration calls you into movement. You cannot reclaim time by staring at it. You reclaim it by stepping forward in obedience now. You may not recover every exact scenario you lost. Some doors close permanently, but what I open next will carry greater alignment than what you once pursued. The relationships you build now will be healthier because you are wiser. The opportunities you embrace now will be stronger because you are humbler. My beloved child, I am not intimidated by your past. I am not discouraged by your delays. I specialize in restoration. I take what appears broken and create something stronger. I take what appears late and turn it into perfect timing. So release the weight of if only. Let go of the narrative that says you are behind. You are exactly where you need to be for this next step. I am restoring lost time, not by rewinding the clock, but by redeeming every second that remains. And as you open the door before you now, you will see how quickly I can move when your obedience meets my grace. My beloved child, I want to remind you how powerful a whisper can be. You often expect my voice to arrive like thunder, shaking the ground beneath you. But more often, I speak like a gentle breeze brushing against your spirit. Zovd. Persisted. Clear to those who are listening. There was once a small child playing near the edge of a wide river. The water looked calm on the surface, sparkling under the light. The child laughed, chasing reflections, unaware that beneath the surface the current was stronger than it appeared. From a distance, the father watched carefully. He did not shout at first. He simply called the child's name in a calm, steady tone. The child paused, hearing the familiar voice. For a moment, curiosity pulled him closer to the water. But the whisper of his father's call stirred something deeper than curiosity. It stirred trust. He turned and walked back. Only moments later, a hidden shift in the current sent a sudden surge along the river bank. What could have swept him away passed harmlessly by. My beloved child, the whisper saved him. You are not so different from that child. You stand near rivers of opportunity, near edges of decision, near currents of change. Some of those currents carry blessing. Others carry risk. And I do not always scream warnings or shout commands. I whisper. The whisper you feel now, the gentle urgency, the nudge to open immediately, is not random emotion. It is my protective love guiding you. It is my foresight reaching into your present moment. You sometimes doubt quiet guidance. You think, if this were truly God, it would be louder. It would be undeniable. But my whispers are deliberate. They require attentiveness. They draw you closer instead of pushing you away. A shout may startle you into obedience. A whisper invites relationship. The enemy tries to drown out my whisper with noise. noise of fear, noise of distraction, noise of overthinking. It floods your mind with endless scenarios until you can barely hear the soft truth beneath. But when you quiet your thoughts, when you breathe and lean in, you recognize my tone. It carries peace even when it calls you to act quickly. My beloved child, the whisper I place in your spirit is always aligned with love. It will never humiliate you. It will never degrade you. It will never push you toward harm. Even when it corrects you, it does so gently. Even when it urges you, it does so kindly. There have been times when you ignored the whisper, not because you wanted danger, but because you wanted certainty. You waited for louder confirmation, and sometimes that waiting made the path more difficult than it needed to be. Yet even then, I remained near you. I adjusted outcomes. I protected you from what could have been worse. And now you are more aware. You recognize the subtle pull. You feel the quiet clarity beneath the surface of your thoughts. That is growth. That is maturity. When I say there are 11 minutes left, it is my whisper turning slightly firmer, not to frighten you, but to ensure you do not miss what is forming. The river before you is not meant to sweep you away. It is meant to carry you forward, but only if you approach it with awareness and trust. You do not need to understand every detail of the current. You only need to respond to my voice. My beloved child, listen carefully. Beneath your racing thoughts, beneath your doubts, beneath the memories of past mistakes, my whisper remains steady. It is guiding you away from harm and toward purpose. It is leading you from hesitation into alignment. Let the whisper guide your next step. Let it calm your fears. Let it steady your hands as you reach for the door. Because just as the child was saved by responding to a quiet call, you too will find safety and blessing when you trust the gentle voice that knows exactly what lies ahead. My beloved child, you have been waiting for reassurance. You have whispered in the quiet of your heart, Lord, if this is truly you, confirm it. If I am not just imagining this, make it clear. And now here you are, listening, feeling something inside you awaken. That stirring you feel is not random. This moment is not accidental. This is your confirmation. For days, perhaps even longer, you have sensed a shift, a gentle but persistent nudge that would not disappear. You tried to dismiss it. You told yourself it was only emotion. You reasoned it away. Yet it returned. Not louder but steadier. Not chaotic but consistent. That consistency is my signature. I do not lead you through confusion. I do not toy with your future. When I guide you, I do so with patience and repetition. You have heard similar messages in different forms. A conversation that unexpectedly aligned with your private thoughts. A line you read that echoed your inner questions. A memory resurfacing at just the right time. You thought it might be coincidence. But my beloved child, I weave confirmation into ordinary moments. There was once a woman who felt called to reconcile with someone she had avoided for years. She resisted the idea because the hurt was deep. She prayed for clarity. In the weeks that followed, she heard multiple teachings about forgiveness. She dreamed about the person more than once. She randomly encountered their name in places it had never appeared before. None of these signs shouted, but together they formed a clear pattern. When she finally reached out, healing began in ways she never expected. The confirmation had been layered, gentle, and persistent. In your own life, I have been layering confirmation. The thought that will not leave. The idea that keeps resurfacing even when you try to bury it. The peace that appears when you imagine saying yes, even if fear tries to interrupt. Peace is my fingerprint. You asked for a sign that would remove doubt. But understand this, my beloved child, doubt often lingers even after confirmation arrives. Doubt is a habit of the mind. Confirmation is an assurance of the spirit. And your spirit recognizes my voice even when your thoughts are still catching up. When I say there are 11 minutes left, it is not meant to frighten you. It is meant to solidify what you already sensed. You have been circling this decision. You have been waiting for one more piece of reassurance. Let these words be that final piece. You are not mishearing me. You are not being reckless. You are not stepping into this alone. The alignment you feel is real. The repeated prompting is intentional. The clarity that keeps resurfacing is deliberate. Look at how many times you tried to ignore it, yet it gently returned. That is not obsession. That is invitation. I am patient, but I am also purposeful. I confirm because I care about your confidence. My beloved child, this is the answer to your prayer for clarity. This is the steady light you asked to see. You may not have a full map of what lies ahead, but you have direction. You may not know every outcome, but you know the next step. Do not keep asking me to confirm what I have already made clear. Instead, let confirmation produce courage. Let it move you from questioning into action. Let it shift you from hesitation into trust. You have your answer. Feel the steadiness beneath your uncertainty. Feel the quiet assurance rising again even now. That assurance is not self-generated. It is placed there by me. This is your confirmation, my beloved child. Not loud, not dramatic, but undeniable in its persistence. Open the door. Move forward. Trust the clarity I have been faithfully repeating to you. I have spoken. Now receive it. My beloved child, one of the heaviest lies you have carried is the belief that you are behind. Behind in life. Behind in purpose. Behind in success. You look around and measure yourself against others. You see their milestones, their progress, their visible achievements, and you quietly ask, why am I not there yet? Comparison has stolen much of your peace. It has whispered that you should have accomplished more by now, that you should be further along, that your delays are proof of failure. But I tell you now with absolute certainty, you are not behind. You are on a different path. You measure progress by speed. I measure progress by formation. You measure by visible results. I measure by internal growth. Some people appear to move quickly, but they have not yet developed the depth required to sustain what they hold. Others move slower, but their foundation is stronger. When storms come, foundation matters more than speed. My beloved child, the years you thought were wasted were years of construction beneath the surface. While you felt stagnant, I was strengthening your character. While you believed nothing was happening, I was shaping endurance within you. While you compared yourself to others, I was preparing you for something uniquely aligned with your calling. A tree does not grow at the same pace as the vine beside it. The vine may climb rapidly, wrapping around structures, rising quickly into visibility. But the tree takes longer. Its roots dig deeper. Its trunk thickens gradually. Years later, when winds blow fiercely, the vine may tear away, but the tree stands firm. You are not a vine, my beloved child. You are a tree. The enemy uses comparison to rush you. It wants you to make decisions out of insecurity. It wants you to open doors prematurely because you feel pressure to catch up. But I am not rushing you based on someone else's timeline. I am calling you according to your own. When I say there are 11 minutes left, I am not saying you are late. I am saying you are right on time for this moment, The door before you now could not have been opened 5 years ago. You would not have recognized it. You would not have been ready to sustain it. But now, you carry wisdom that only time could produce. You are not behind in healing. You are not behind in purpose. You are not behind in love. Everything unfolding in your life has been measured with intention. Think of a runner in a long-distance race. If he spends his energy trying to match the pace of every runner around him, he will exhaust himself. The wise runner listens to his own rhythm. He knows his endurance. He knows when to accelerate and when to conserve strength. If he trusts his pace, he finishes strong. My beloved child, your pace has been intentional. The pauses were intentional. The detours were intentional. Even the closed doors were protective, not punitive. You look at your age and wonder if it is too late. You look at missed opportunities and think they cannot be replaced. But I am not confined by your sense of timing. I can accelerate what seems delayed. I can restore what appears lost. I can position you suddenly in spaces that feel beyond your current level. Do not let shame convince you that you have fallen behind. Shame distorts perspective. It focuses only on what has not happened yet and ignores what has already been built inside you. You are stronger than you were, wiser than you were, more discerning than you were. Those are not signs of delay. They are signs of preparation. So release the pressure to catch up. Release the anxiety that tells you you are late. You are not late. You are aligned. My beloved child, I have never been hurried, and I have never been delayed. I operate in perfect timing. And because you are walking with me, you are exactly where you need to be. Now that the moment has arrived, step forward without the burden of comparison. Open the door knowing you are not behind. You are right on schedule for what I have prepared. My beloved child, you have been asking for clarity about the entire path. But I am only showing you the next step. And that is intentional. If I revealed every detail, every twist, every challenge, and every triumph, you might feel overwhelmed. You might try to control what was meant to be trusted. So I illuminate just enough for obedience. You want guarantees. You want certainty about outcomes. You want assurance that if you open this door, everything will unfold smoothly. But faith does not require full visibility. It requires willingness. Imagine walking through a dark valley with a lantern that lights only a few steps ahead. You cannot see the end of the trail. You cannot see the mountain peak beyond the horizon. But you can see where to place your foot next. If you refuse to move until the entire valley is illuminated, you will remain still forever. But if you trust the small circle of light around you, you will eventually reach heights you could not see from the beginning. My beloved child, I am your light, and I am asking you to step forward without seeing everything. This is where many turn back, not because they lack ability, but because they crave control. Control feels safe. It creates the illusion of security. But control often limits miracles. When you insist on seeing the full blueprint, you restrict my ability to surprise you with goodness beyond your imagination. There was once a fisherman who felt prompted to sail out a little farther than usual. The sky was not perfectly clear. The waters were uncertain. He could not see what lay beyond the mist. Yet the quiet nudge remained steady. He chose to trust it. When he cast his nets, the catch exceeded anything he had experienced before. If he had waited for perfect visibility, he would have missed abundance hidden just beyond his comfort zone. You are standing at a similar edge now. The mist is present. Questions remain. But so does my voice. When I say there are 11 minutes left, I am not demanding reckless movement. I am inviting courageous trust. You do not need to understand every outcome. You do not need to anticipate every obstacle. You only need to trust the one who stands ahead of you and beside you. Your mind will continue to ask, what if? What if it failed? What if I regret this? What if it changes more than I expect? But faith asks a different question. What if this is the breakthrough I have been praying for? You cannot experience new ground while clinging to old certainty. Growth requires stepping into partial knowledge. It requires believing that my character is steady even when your vision is limited. My beloved child, I see the entire path. I see the turns that will strengthen you. I see the conversations that will encourage you. I see the doors that will open because you chose obedience today. If you could see what I see, hesitation would dissolve instantly. But until that day, I ask you to trust me. Step forward without seeing everything. Move while the lantern is still lit. Trust that as you advance, more light will appear. I will not leave you in darkness. I will not guide you into confusion. I will reveal what you need when you need it. And if these words are stirring your courage, if you feel the nudge to move even though the full picture is hidden, do not keep this encouragement to yourself. Bless this message with a like so it can reach others standing in their own mist-filled valleys. Share it with 3 souls who are waiting for the strength to take their next step. Hype this video so it rises and carries my voice farther than you can imagine. Subscribe so you continue receiving guidance for every season of faith. My beloved child, the path ahead may not be fully visible, but my presence is fully reliable. Take the step. The rest will unfold in perfect time. My beloved child, you have agreed to step forward without seeing everything, and this too is a step of faith. When you support this work through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link waiting in the description, you walk by faith and not by sight. You may not see every soul reached, every tear wiped, every life redirected, but I do. Your seed becomes light in someone else's valley, well in someone else's lantern, fire on someone else's altar. As I have spoken, cast your bread upon the waters, and after many days it will return, and I am watching over that promise for you. This is not coincidence, it is calling. If you feel the nudge to give, that nudge is my voice in the mist. There are still moments left in this window of grace. Trust the light you have, act in courage, and let your obedience carry my word farther than you can imagine. Give now, and watch what unfolds. My beloved child, as I call you forward, there is something else happening behind you. While you focus on the door ahead, I am gently closing doors that once harmed you. Not with anger, not with bitterness, but with protection and wisdom. You have tried before to shut certain chapters of your life, yet they seem to reopen. Old patterns resurfaced. Familiar pain returned. Relationships that drained you found their way back into your thoughts. You wondered why it felt so difficult to fully move on. But some closures require my hand, not just your will. When I close a door, it does not slam in violence. It seals with peace. It may feel uncomfortable at first because you were used to walking through it. Familiarity, even painful familiarity, can feel safe. But I see what you cannot see. I see where that path would eventually lead. I see the slow erosion of your confidence. I see the quiet diminishing of your joy. And because I love you, I close what would continue to wound you. You may feel a sense of loss when certain connections fade. You may question why some opportunities dissolve just when you thought they might work. But what you interpret as rejection is often redirection. What you call loss is sometimes deliverance. Imagine a gardener trimming branches from a tree. To the tree, The cutting may feel sharp. It may seem like something valuable is being removed. But the gardener sees disease spreading along certain limbs. He knows that without pruning, the entire tree could weaken. So he cuts with care, not cruelty. My beloved child, I am pruning what harmed you. There are conversations you will no longer need to have. There are environments you will no longer need to endure. There are influences that will gradually lose their hold on your attention. You do not have to fight every battle to escape them. Some doors will simply close because I have decided your spirit deserves better. You have feared that closing certain chapters would leave you alone. You have worried that walking away from what hurt you might also remove comfort. But I am not taking from you without replacing. When I close one door, I open space for healthier connection. When I remove what drained you, I restore energy for what will strengthen you. This is part of why I say there are 11 minutes left. Because the transition is happening now. The old cannot follow you where I am leading you. The harm cannot enter the room of healing. The voices that once criticized you cannot speak into the season of confidence I am building. Do not try to reopen what I am sealing. Do not chase what is fading. Trust the closure. Even if you do not understand every reason, know that it is rooted in protection. There were seasons when you begged me to remove certain pain, yet when the removal began, you felt unsettled. Change can feel like loss before it feels like freedom. But freedom is coming. My beloved child, I am not punishing you by closing these doors. I am positioning you. I am shielding you from cycles that would repeat. I am preventing wounds from deepening. And I am preparing your heart for something cleaner, calmer, and stronger. You will look back and see my mercy in the closures. You will realize that what once felt necessary was actually limiting. You will see how certain attachments kept you small. And you will thank me for the doors that did not reopen. For now, simply trust that I am at work both ahead of you and behind you. As you step forward, you are not only entering new opportunity, you are leaving old harm behind. I am closing what harmed you so you can walk unburdened into what heals you. And as those doors seal gently shut, you will feel lighter, freer, and more ready than ever to embrace what waits on the other side of obedience. My beloved child, you have been waiting for something dramatic. You have imagined a miracle as a sudden explosion of change, a visible sign that leaves no room for doubt. You have pictured doors flying open, problems dissolving instantly, and circumstances rearranging themselves overnight. And yes, I am capable of those things. But listen closely now. The miracle in the next 11 minutes begins somewhere far more powerful than your surroundings. It begins within you. You have been watching the horizon for movement, but I have been watching your heart. Because when your heart shifts, everything connected to it begins to shift as well. The next 11 minutes are not about spectacle. They are about surrender. They are about the agreement between your will and mine. A miracle does not always start with noise. Sometimes it starts with a decision so quiet that no one else even notices. A decision to trust again. A decision to forgive. A decision to move forward even though fear is still whispering. In that moment of decision, chains begin to crack. There was once a woman who waited years for her situation to improve. She prayed for a new environment, new relationships, new opportunities. But nothing seemed to change. One evening, she felt a gentle prompting to change the way she spoke about herself. It seemed small. It seemed almost insignificant compared to the magnitude of her struggles. But she obeyed. She began to speak with hope instead of defeat. A small internal shift changed her posture, her confidence, her choices. Within a year, the circumstances she once begged to escape had been transformed. The miracle did not begin with the world changing. It began with her agreement to change. My beloved child, what if your miracle is closer than you think? What if it is not waiting for a perfect sign in the sky, but for your willingness to align? The next 11 minutes hold more weight than you realize. In these moments, you can release resentment you have been holding for years. You can silence the lie that you are behind. You can decide that fear will no longer dictate your pace. When you make that decision, heaven responds. You may think miracles are rare, reserved for extraordinary circumstances. But the greatest miracles are often internal transformations that lead to external results. When your mindset changes, your decisions follow. When your decision changes, your direction shifts. And when your direction shifts, your destiny unfolds differently. The enemy wants you to believe that nothing meaningful can happen in such a short period of time. He wants you to underestimate these minutes. But I created time, and I can saturate a single moment with more power than years of passive waiting. In the next 11 minutes, you can move from hesitation to obedience, from regret to restoration, from comparison to confidence. That movement may not be visible to others immediately, but it will be real. It will set into motion conversations, opportunities, and alignments you cannot yet see. Do not wait for the world to validate your shift. Let the shift happen within you first. Let peace replace panic. Let clarity replace confusion. Let courage rise even if your hands still tremble. My beloved child, this is a sacred window. Not because of the clock, but because of your awareness. You are listening. You are open. You are standing at the edge of decision. That is fertile ground for miracles. Close your eyes for a moment and feel what is happening inside you. The heaviness is lifting. The fog is thinning. The resistance is weakening. That is movement. That is grace at work. The miracle in the next 11 minutes is not only about what I will do for you. It is about what I will awaken within you. And once awakened, that courage, that peace, that alignment cannot be undone. Choose agreement now. Choose trust now. Choose to open fully now. Because when you do, these minutes will become the turning point you will one day look back on and say, that is when everything truly began to change. My beloved child, you may think your decision is small. You may believe that your quiet yes, spoken in the privacy of your heart, barely registers beyond your own thoughts. But I tell you the truth, when you say yes to me, it echoes in heaven. You measure your life by visible reactions. A buzz, recognition, immediate results. But the most significant moments are often the ones no one else sees. When you choose obedience over fear, when you choose trust over hesitation, something shifts not only within you, but around you. Imagine a vast hall filled with light, where movements are recorded not by cameras but by intention. When a heart aligns with my will, there is movement. There is rejoicing. Not because I need validation, but because alignment restores order. It brings harmony between earth and heaven. You do not walk this journey unnoticed. Every time you resist the pull to retreat and instead step forward in faith, it matters. Every time you open the door I have been knocking on, it sends a signal through realms you cannot see. There was once a young man who felt called to forgive someone who had deeply wronged him. No one else knew the depth of his struggle. Outwardly, he appeared strong. Inwardly, resentment had built walls around his heart. One evening, alone in his room, he finally whispered, "I release this." No one applauded. No crowd celebrated. Yet that quiet yes shattered chains that had bound him for years. He opened space for peace to enter. It altered the trajectory of his relationships. That one unseen decision echoed far beyond the room he sat in. My beloved child, your yes carries that same power. You may not immediately see doors fly open. You may not instantly feel every burden disappear. But something begins to rearrange. Paths begin to align. Protection strengthens around you. Opportunities that were once distant begin drawing closer. When I say there are 11 minutes left, it is because this is a moment of choice. And choices are sacred. They define direction. They determine alignment. They create momentum. You often underestimate your influence. You think your obedience affects only you. But your courage inspires others, even if they never tell you. Your growth changes the atmosphere in your home. Your decision to break a cycle alters the future of those who come after you. Your yes is not isolated. It ripples. Heaven responds not to perfection, but to surrender. I do not celebrate flawless execution. I rejoice in willing hearts. When you say yes despite trembling, that is powerful. When you open the door even though you cannot see the full room beyond it, that is faith. And faith moves mountains. My beloved child, do not imagine heaven as distant or detached. I am intimately aware of your internal battles. I see the wrestling between fear and trust. I see the courage it takes for you to move forward after disappointment. And when you choose alignment, I honor that choice. Your yes strengthens you. It weakens doubt. It fortifies your spirit. It establishes new patterns of obedience. And over time, those patterns shape destiny. You may think you are responding to a single moment, but this moment connects to many others. It connects to opportunities you have not yet encountered. It connects to relationships that will benefit from your growth. It connects to blessings that require your present alignment. So when you open your heart now, when you whisper yes to my leading, know that it is not disappearing into silence. It is resonating. My beloved child, your yes echoes in heaven. It moves what you cannot see. It aligns what you cannot control. It activates what you have been praying for. Do not minimize this moment. Do not dismiss your obedience as small. In the unseen realm, it is significant. Say yes. Step forward. Open fully. And know that as you do, heaven is responding with favor, protection, and purpose already in motion on your behalf. My beloved child, before you step fully into what I have prepared, there is something I need you to release. You have been carrying a weight that was never meant to rest on your shoulders. You have called it responsibility. You have called it caution. You have even called it wisdom. But beneath those names, it has been a burden. You wake up thinking about it. You fall asleep turning it over in your mind. You rehearse conversations that have not happened. You replay mistakes that cannot be undone. You anticipate problems that may never even come. And slowly, without realizing it, you have grown tired. You were not created to carry the future alone. Imagine a traveler walking a long road with a pack strapped tightly to his back. At first, the load feels manageable. He adjusts the straps. He shifts the weight from one shoulder to the other. But mile after mile, the pack grows heavier. Not because more items were added, but because fatigue has set in. If someone were to offer to carry it for him, he might hesitate, thinking, "It is my responsibility." Yet the offer would not remove his journey. It would simply remove unnecessary strain. My beloved child, I am offering to carry what you cannot. The burden of outcome does not belong to you. The weight of every possible scenario does not belong to you. The pressure to make everything work perfectly does not belong to you. Your role is obedience. The results are mine. You have tried to control details that are beyond your reach. You have taken on emotional weights from others, believing it was your duty to fix what they feel. You have held on to regret as if punishing yourself could somehow change the past. But none of these burdens produce peace. When I say there are 11 minutes left, it is not only a call to action. It is an invitation to surrender. Before you open the next door, lay down what has been exhausting you. Release the fear of failing. Release the need to impress. Release the anxiety about what others might think. Release the silent belief that everything depends on you. It does not. There is strength in responsibility, but there is freedom in trust. You can move forward more lightly when you understand that you are not the architect of every outcome. You are a participant in a larger design. There was once a woman who carried her family's expectations like a stone in her pocket. She felt responsible for their happiness, their success, their approval. The weight shaped her decisions. It influenced her voice. It limited her courage. One day, she finally admitted that she could not live under that pressure anymore. She surrendered it to me. Not overnight, but gradually she felt lighter. Her steps became steadier. Her choices became clearer. The burden had been clouding her discernment. My beloved child, what you are carrying may be clouding yours. Lay it down. You may ask, if I release this, will things fall apart? No, they will realign. When you release control, you make space for my guidance. When you let go of fear, you make room for faith. When you surrender outcomes, you gain peace. This is not weakness. It is wisdom. You are not required to predict every obstacle. You are not required to solve every problem before it appears. You are not required to carry the weight of everyone around you. Give it to me. Feel the tension leave your shoulders. Feel your breath deepen. Feel your mind quiet as the constant calculations slow down. My beloved child, you cannot step boldly into what I have prepared while clinging to what exhausts you. The door ahead requires open hands, and open hands cannot hold heavy burdens. Lay them down now. Trust that I am strong enough to carry what you cannot. Trust that I am wise enough to guide what you do not understand. Walk forward lighter. Walk forward free. Walk forward knowing that the weight you once carried no longer defines your pace. You were never meant to bear it alone. My beloved child, you have been watching the clock with anxious eyes. You have been counting days, measuring weeks, wondering why the change you prayed for has not yet appeared. You have whispered, Lord, how much longer? And in your waiting, you have begun to assume that nothing is happening. But I tell you now with tenderness and certainty, I am moving faster than you think. You measure progress by visible results. You look for signs in your circumstances. You wait for doors to swing open dramatically. You expect momentum to feel obvious. But much of my work happens beneath the surface, beyond your sight, outside the limits of your immediate understanding. Think of a master builder constructing a great structure. Before walls rise and windows are installed, there is excavation. There is foundation work. There are measurements taken with precision. To someone passing by, it may look like an empty plot of land for weeks. They may wonder if anything is truly happening. But beneath the ground, reinforcement is being laid. Strength is being secured. Stability is being ensured. My beloved child, your life is in that stage of hidden reinforcement. While you feel stalled, I am aligning people you have not yet met. I am preparing conversations that will soon intersect with your obedience. I am softening hearts that will respond to your courage. I am rearranging circumstances so that when the moment comes, it will unfold smoothly rather than chaotically. You think delay means distance, but often, delay means alignment. When I say there are 11 minutes left, it is not a countdown to failure. It is a reminder that what you thought was far away is much closer than you imagined. The shift is already in motion. The acceleration has already begun. Consider the dawn. For hours, the night seems unchanged. Darkness stretches across the sky with no visible difference from one minute to the next. But then, in what feels like a sudden instant, light begins to break through. The transition from night to day seems quick, yet the earth was turning steadily the entire time. In the same way, your life has been turning toward breakthrough even when it felt like midnight. The enemy of your hope whispers that nothing is forming. It tells you that time is running out, that you have been forgotten, that you are stuck. But I do not forget my children. I do not abandon what I begin. I do not miscalculate timing. There was once a man who prayed for a new opportunity for years. He applied for positions, started small projects, and saw little success. Eventually, he grew weary. Yet in the background, his skills were being refined. His character was being shaped. A connection he made casually years before began to resurface. When the opportunity finally arrived, it came swiftly and unexpectedly. Within a month, everything changed. Looking back, you realized that what felt like slow years had actually been fast preparation. My beloved child, preparation often feels slower than fulfillment. But preparation determines sustainability. If I moved you too quickly without strengthening your foundation, the blessing could overwhelm you. You are not stagnant. You are being positioned. Momentum does not always feel like speed. Sometimes it feels like patience. Sometimes it feels like endurance. Sometimes it feels like silence. But beneath the silence, alignment is accelerating. Do not allow discouragement to convince you that time has been wasted. Do not assume that because you cannot see movement, there is none. The roots are deepening. The connections are forming. The doors are loosening on their hinges. Stay ready. Stay attentive. Stay obedient. Because when the visible shift comes, it will seem sudden to you. But to me, it will be the perfect culmination of carefully arranged details. I am moving faster than you think, my beloved child. The breakthrough is closer than it appears. The answer is forming even now. Trust the unseen motion. Trust the quiet acceleration. And prepare your heart, because what you have been waiting for is already on its way toward you. My beloved child, after all that has been spoken, after every whisper, every stirring in your spirit, every reminder that you are not behind and not alone, we return again to this simple image, the knock. It is still there. It has not faded. It has not turned into silence. It remains steady, patient, intentional. I am still knocking. Not with anger, not with frustration, not with condemnation. I am not pounding on your door to frighten you. I am not demanding entry. I am knocking with love, but love that refuses to abandon you at the threshold of your own breakthrough. Trust the knock. You have trusted many other signals in your life. When you hear the voice of someone you recognize, you respond almost instinctively. When a loved one calls your name, you do not question whether it is truly them. Recognition builds confidence. And I have been teaching you to recognize my tone. My knock does not sound like shame. It does not list your failures. It does not replay your mistakes. My knock carries hope. It carries peace beneath urgency. It carries clarity, even if you feel nervous about what lies beyond the door. The enemy's voice is chaotic. It rushes you into panic. It pressures you with dread. It tells you that if you do not act perfectly, everything will collapse. But my prompting feels different. It is firm. Yes, but it is steady. It does not suffocate you. It strengthens you. You have mistaken hesitation for wisdom in the past. You told yourself that waiting was maturity. Sometimes it was. But other times, waiting was fear disguised as caution. And now you can tell the difference. Fear feels heavy and dark. My invitation feels bright, even if it stretches you. There was once a man who heard a knock at his door late one evening. He had been praying for change, for opportunity, for relief from his stagnant routine. When the knock came, he felt both excitement and dread. He peeked through the window and saw someone familiar, someone trustworthy. Yet he hesitated. He wondered if opening the door would disrupt the comfort he had grown used to. After a long pause, he finally opened it. The visitor brought news of a path he had always desired but never dared to pursue. If he had ignored the knock, he would have remained safe, but unchanged. My beloved child, comfort is not always calling. Sometimes comfort is confinement. Trust the knock because it aligns with your deepest prayers. You have asked me to move. You have asked for clarity. You have asked for courage. And now that movement is at your door, do not let overthinking silence your response. The knock you hear is not random emotion. It is not impulse. It is the culmination of preparation, confirmation, pruning, restoration, and alignment. It is everything we have walked through together, reaching a single point of decision. I am not standing outside with accusation. I am standing outside with promise. You fear what might change if you open. But what if the greater risk is remaining as you are? What if the door you keep closed is the very one that leads to healing? What if the knock you resist is the answer you have been begging for? My beloved child, I honor your freedom. I will not force this door. The handle rests in your hand. But I also remind you, I would not knock unless what waits beyond it was worth stepping into. Behind this door is growth. Behind it is peace that does not depend on circumstances. Behind it is a new chapter that does not repeat old pain. Behind it is my presence in a deeper way than you have known before. The knock continues. Not louder. Not hurrier. Just clearer. Do not wait for it to fade. Do not convince yourself it was imagination. You recognize my voice now. You feel the steadiness of it. You sense the love within it. Trust the knock, my beloved child. Open the door. Step into what I have prepared, and discover that on the other side of your courage is the very breakthrough you have been seeking all along. My beloved child, you have stood at this threshold long enough. You had heard the knock. You have felt the stirring. You have wrestled with hesitation and released old burdens. Now imagine this with me. The door opens. Not with a crash. Not with chaos. But with a quiet turning of the handle and a gentle swing inward. And what greets you is not confusion. It is peace. You expected intensity. You braced yourself for overwhelm. You thought stepping forward would feel like stepping into a storm. But instead there is calm. A steady assurance settles over you. The racing thoughts begin to slow. The tightness in your chest loosens. This is what happens when obedience meets alignment. Peace is not the absence of responsibility. It is the presence of trust. When you open the door I have been knocking on, you are not stepping into unpredictability alone. You are stepping into partnership with me. And where I am welcomed, peace follows. There was once a family who lived in a house filled with tension. Unspoken words hung heavy in the air. Every conversation felt fragile. One evening, the father chose to initiate an honest, humble discussion that had been delayed for years. He feared conflict. He feared rejection. But when he opened that door, something unexpected happened. The atmosphere shifted. Walls suffered. Healing began. The peace that entered was not because everything was perfect. It was because truth had been welcomed. My beloved child, peace enters where truth is embraced and fear is dismissed. You have feared what might happen if you fully surrendered to my guidance. But surrender is not defeat. It is relief. It is stepping out of constant calculation and into steady trust. As the door opens, you begin to see more clearly. Decisions that once felt tangled start to untangle. You realize that much of the chaos you feared was never waiting for you. It was created by anticipation, not reality. Peace is your confirmation that you are aligned. When I say there are 11 minutes left, it is because this is the crossing point. This is where anxiety ends and assurance begins. This is where striving stops and trusting starts. Do not confuse peace with passivity. Peace is powerful. It steadies your voice. It sharpens your thinking. It strengthens your posture. When you move from peace, you act with clarity instead of impulse. My beloved child, the door does not open to pressure. It opens to presence. My presence. You will still face challenges. Life will still require courage. But you will not face them from a place of panic. You will face them from a place of grounded confidence. And if you are feeling that peace settle over you even now, if you sense the shift from tension to trust, do not keep that to yourself. Bless this message with a like so others can find the same calm you are experiencing. Share it with 3 souls whose homes and hearts need this peace. Hype this video so it rises and carries this assurance into more lives. Subscribe so you continue walking in alignment with my voice. When you respond, you help open doors for others too. My beloved child, the door opens to peace because I am peace. Where I lead, there is steadiness. Where I guide, there is clarity. Where I dwell, fear cannot dominate. Step fully inside. Let the calm wash over you. Let the noise fall behind you. Let trust anchor you. You have not stepped into chaos. You have stepped into alignment. And in this alignment, you will discover that peace was waiting for you all along, just beyond the door you finally chose to open. My beloved child, you have stepped into peace, and peace now becomes your foundation for action. From this calm place, so when you bless this mission through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you extend this same peace into homes filled with tension and hearts searching for rest. Your gift becomes a key that opens doors for others. I have said, blessed are the peacemakers, and today you become one by fueling the spread of my presence. This is not pressure, it is partnership. In these final minutes, let your obedience flow from peace, not panic. I will breathe increase upon what you release and stability upon what concerns you. The door has opened, now let provision flow through it. Act from alignment, support, give and help my peace reach the ends of the night. My beloved child, now that the door has opened and you have stepped across the threshold, you may be wondering what truly awaits you inside. You brace yourself for turbulence. You prepared for confusion. You expected that obedience might lead you into overwhelming change. But what greets you here is something far more powerful and far more gentle than you imagined. Inside this space, there is clarity. The fog that once hovered over your thoughts begins to thin. Decisions that felt tangled begin to untangle. You notice that what once kept you awake at night no longer carries the same intensity. The questions that once felt paralyzing now feel manageable. This is not because every answer has suddenly appeared, but because your heart is no longer divided between fear and faith. Alignment simplifies what anxiety once complicated. There is healing here, too. Quiet, steady healing. Not the kind that shouts for attention, but the kind that restores you from within. Old wounds that once reacted to the slightest reminder begin to soften. Memories that once triggered shame lose their sharpness. You still remember what happened, but it no longer defines who you are. Inside this door, you discover strength that was forming all along. You thought you were fragile. You thought you were barely holding yourself together. But now you realize that endurance was growing in you through every trial. Your voice feels steadier. Your posture feels more grounded. The insecurities that once dominated your inner dialogue have begun to fade into the background. Growth awaits you here, my beloved child. Not rushed growth, not forced transformation, but natural unfolding. You are not becoming someone artificial. You are becoming more fully yourself, the version of you that was always possible but hidden beneath hesitation. There is also joy here, though it may surprise you with its simplicity. It is not loud or boastful. It is a quiet contentment, a deep exhale that says, I am where I am meant to be. Joy often follows obedience. It follows surrender. It follows trust. What awaits inside are relationships that will strengthen rather than deplete you. Conversations that will sharpen your wisdom instead of clouding it. Opportunities that align with your calling instead of distracting you from it. You will begin to notice that doors open more smoothly. That resistance decreases. That effort feels purposeful rather than exhausting. You feared that stepping through this door would strip you of control. Instead, it has restored your peace. Inside, responsibility still exists, but it no longer feels like a crushing burden. It feels meaningful. It energizes instead of draining. It challenges you in ways that stretch you without breaking you. This is the difference between striving alone and walking in partnership with me. There are gifts within you that have been waiting for this moment. Talents you minimized. Dreams you dismissed. Insights you doubted. And now, in this new space, they begin to breathe again. You feel creativity stirring. You feel courage rising. You feel confidence returning, not arrogance but assurance. Imagine a room long closed off for light. Dust has settled. The air feels heavy. But when a window is opened, fresh air floods in. Sunlight reaches corners that were once dark. What seemed forgotten begins to shine again. My beloved child, that is what awaits inside. Renewal. Restoration. Reawakening. You will still encounter challenges, but you will approach them differently. Not from panic, but from peace. Not from insecurity, but from identity. Not from fear of loss, but from confidence in my presence. Inside this door, you experience me more intimately. Not as a distant voice, but as a close companion. You realize that I was not only guiding your steps toward opportunity, I was guiding you toward deeper relationship. You are no longer standing outside wondering what could have been. You are inside discovering what is. Embrace it fully. Explore it courageously. Grow within it steadily. This is not the final destination. It is the beginning of a more aligned journey. And everything that awaits you here has been prepared with intention, woven with love, and designed specifically for you, my beloved child. My beloved child, now that you have stepped inside, now that peace has begun to settle and clarity has started to rise, there is something I need you to understand deeply. What harmed you before does not have permission to follow you here. The enemy cannot enter what I have sealed. You have spent so much of your life bracing yourself. Even in moments of joy, you anticipated disruption. Even in seasons of growth, you waited for something to collapse. You learned to celebrate cautiously because experience taught you that good moments sometimes ended abruptly. But this space is different. When I open a door and you walk through it in obedience, I do not leave the threshold unguarded. I do not invite you into new ground and abandon you to defend it alone. I am not careless with your healing. I am not reckless with your peace. Imagine a shepherd leading his sheep into a new pasture. The grass is fresh. The air is clean. But before allowing them to settle, the shepherd walks the perimeter. He inspects the boundaries. He ensures there are no hidden threats. Only then does he allow the flock to rest. My beloved child, I have walked the perimeter of this new season. I have gone before you. I have closed access points that once allowed harm to reach you. I have strengthened your discernment so you recognize danger earlier than before. What once caught you off guard will now be detected. This does not mean you will never face challenges again. But challenges are not the same as intrusion. Growth is not the same as harm. Opposition is not the same as defeat. You have feared that if you open your heart again, pain will rush back in. You have wondered if stepping forward means exposing yourself to another wound. But I tell you this, the lessons you learned have become boundaries. The wisdom you gained has become protection. The enemy's greatest tool was your uncertainty. It thrived when you doubted your worth. It advanced when you hesitated in fear. But now you recognize my voice. Now you move with clarity. Now you stand with identity rooted in truth. That changes everything. The lies that once infiltrated your thoughts will no longer have the same access. When doubt tries to whisper, you will recognize it as foreign. When fear tries to re-enter, you will sense the difference between caution and sabotage. You are not the same person who once stood outside this door. You have grown. You have matured. You have aligned yourself with me. And where I am welcomed, the enemy's influence weakens. There was once a man who left behind a house filled with darkness. He feared that the darkness would follow him to his new home. But when he entered the new space, he filled it with light. He invited truth in. He surrounded himself with strength. When shadows tried to creep in, they had nowhere to settle. Light dominated. My beloved child, this new season is filled with light. Light of clarity. Light of identity. Light of purpose. Darkness cannot dominate where light is established. You do not need to constantly look over your shoulder. You do not need to live in suspicion. Peace is not fragile here. It is anchored. Trust that I am guarding what you could not guard before. Trust that I am sealing what once felt exposed. Trust that I am reinforcing what once felt vulnerable. The enemy cannot enter what I have sealed unless you reopen old doors willingly. And you are wiser now. You recognize patterns. You detect warning signs earlier. You value your peace too deeply to surrender it casually. Stand confidently in this space. Walk boldly in this new season. You are not stepping into vulnerability alone. You are stepping into protection. My beloved child, the harm that once defined your past does not have authority over your future. The voices that once intimidated you cannot rule this room. You are covered. You are guarded. You are strengthened. And as you continue forward, you will see that what once tried to chase you can no longer keep up. Because you are walking in a space secured by my presence, and the enemy cannot enter what I have declared safe. My beloved child, I want you to pause and truly receive this truth. You were meant for this hour, not by accident, not by coincidence, not because you somehow stumbled into the right place at the right time. You were shaped, refined, and positioned for this very moment long before you recognized it as significant. You have often looked back over your life and questioned the path. You wondered why certain seasons were so heavy, why progress felt slow, why doors closed when you were certain they should have opened. You asked me why the journey seemed harder for you than for others. But what you could not see then is becoming clear now. Every season was forming you for this one. The endurance you carry today was not born in comfort. It was forged in waiting. The discernment you now possess did not appear overnight. It was sharpened through mistakes, through lessons learned the hard way. The compassion in your heart expanded through your own disappointments. The humility that steadies you now grew from moments when pride had to be laid down. Nothing was random. You once thought you were falling behind. You thought others were advancing while you were stuck. But I was not racing you against anyone else. I was building you carefully, layer by layer, strengthening your foundation so that when this hour arrived, you would not crumble beneath its weight. Destiny is not always loud. It is often a quiet convergence of preparation and opportunity. It is the moment when who you have become finally matches where you are standing. There was once a craftsman who spent years practicing his trade in obscurity. No crowds gathered. No recognition followed his work. He questioned whether his effort mattered. Then one day, a project of great importance required someone with precisely his skills. The intricate patience he developed over the years made him the perfect fit. You realized that his hidden years were not wasted. They were preparation. My beloved child, your hidden years were preparation. Every silent battle you fought, every time you chose integrity when no one was watching, every moment you resisted bitterness and chose growth instead. I saw it all. I counted it all. And I wove it into the strength you carry now. You are not underqualified for this hour. You are not stepping into something too large for you. You have grown into this space. The peace you felt when the door opened was not accidental. It was confirmation that your character matches the calling. The enemy tried to convince you that your past disqualified you. It replayed your mistakes and magnified your insecurities. It told you that others were more capable, more prepared, more deserving. But it could not see what I was shaping inside you. This hour requires your specific journey. It requires the empathy you developed through hardship. It requires the resilience built through disappointment. It requires the wisdom that only experience could teach. If I had brought you here earlier, you would have doubted yourself more. If I had delayed it longer, you might have grown weary. But now, at this precise moment, you are ready. When I told you there were 11 minutes left, it was not to pressure you. It was to awaken you, to help you see that this alignment is intentional. This is not random timing. It is divine orchestration. You do not need to shrink back as though you have wandered into someone else's destiny. This ground was measured for your steps. This season was shaped for your maturity. This responsibility fits your growth. Stand confidently, my beloved child. Do not apologize for occupying the space I prepared for you. Do not minimize your strength. Do not question whether you belong here. You belong. You were meant for this hour. You were refined for this alignment. You were strengthened for this responsibility. And as you continue forward, you will discover that everything you endured was not a detour. It was a direct path leading you here. Walk boldly. Speak clearly. Trust deeply. because this hour was not assigned by accident. It was designed with purpose, and you, my beloved child, were always meant to stand in it. My beloved child, I want you to feel this truth not only in your mind, but deep within your spirit. Heaven is leaning toward you. You have spent so much of your life reaching upward, praying, hoping, stretching your faith toward what you could not see. But you are not the only one reaching. I am leaning toward you with attention, with care, with intentional love. You are not distant to me. You are not a faint voice in a crowded world. When you whispered prayers in the quiet of your room, I heard every word. When you held back tears so no one else would notice your struggle, I saw you. When you questioned your worth and still chose to take one more faithful step, I was nearer than you realized. Heaven is not indifferent to your journey. Imagine a father watching his child learn to walk. He does not remain seated and detached. He leans forward instinctively. His arms are open. His eyes follow every movement. His heart beats with anticipation and concern. When the child stumbles, he moves quickly. When the child steadies, he smiles. That is how I watch you. When you opened the door, when you chose obedience over fear, when you laid down burdens you were never meant to carry, heaven leaned in closer, not because you finally earned attention, but because you aligned yourself with the path prepared for you. You may have felt unnoticed for years. You may have believed that your quiet faithfulness went unseen. But I assure you, nothing you have endured, nothing you have surrendered, nothing you have trusted me with has been ignored. Heaven leans toward surrendered hearts. You have wondered if your obedience truly makes a difference. It does. You have questioned whether your growth matters. It does. You have doubted whether your private victories count. They count more than you know. There were moments when you felt alone, as though your decisions were made in isolation. But even then, unseen protection surrounded you. I redirected harm you never saw. I softened consequences that could have been harsher. I closed doors that would have led you into deeper confusion. Now that you are more aware, you will begin to notice the subtle ways I move. You will sense timing that feels precise rather than random. You will encounter conversations that seem perfectly aligned. You will feel strength rise within you at moments when you would once have collapsed. That is not coincidence. That is heaven leaning toward you. There was once a man who believed his life was small and insignificant. He performed ordinary tasks faithfully, thinking no one noticed. But one act of kindness he extended quietly set into motion a chain of events that blessed many people. He never saw the full impact of his obedience, but heaven did. Every step he took was recorded in light. My beloved child, you may not see the full ripple of your choices. You may not immediately witness the fruit of your courage, but heaven sees. Heaven responds. Heaven leans in when you move in alignment. You are not an afterthought. You are not forgotten. You are not too flawed to be supported. When you stand in peace, when you move in trust, when you step boldly into the hour you were meant for, you do so under watchful, loving attention. Feel that nearness now. Not distant, not abstract. Close, present, active. You do not need to beg for my attention. You already have it. You do not need to shout to be heard. I am already listening. You do not need to prove your worth through perfection. Your worth was established before this hour began. As you continue walking forward, carry this awareness with you. Heaven is not observing from afar. Heaven is leaning toward you with readiness, ready to strengthen, ready to guide, ready to sustain. You are accompanied in this season. You are supported in this calling. You are seen in every decision. And as you take each new step, remember this deeply, my beloved child. You are not walking upward alone. Heaven is leaning down toward you, meeting your obedience with grace, meeting your courage with protection, meeting your trust with unwavering love. My beloved child, you have come so far in this journey. You have heard my knock. You have wrestled with fear. You have stepped through the door. You have felt peace settle and strength rise. You have understood that you were meant for this hour and that heaven is leaning toward you. Now there is only one thing left. Open fully. Do not leave a corner of your heart untouched. Do not keep one small room locked just in case. Do not step halfway into alignment while secretly holding on to an exit plan. Open fully. Partial surrender keeps you divided. Half-trust keeps you anxious. A slightly open door still allows drafts of doubt to slip in. But when you open fully, light fills every space. Air circulates freely. Be settled deeply. You have lived much of your life guarding yourself. You learned to protect your heart after disappointment. You learned to shield your expectations after loss. You learned to leave pieces of yourself hidden so they could not be wounded again. The guarded posture helps you survive certain seasons, but it will not help you thrive in this one. This new season requires wholeness. There was once a man who moved into a new home after years of instability. He unpacked only the essentials. He kept many of his belongings in boxes, telling himself it was temporary. He feared that if he settled fully, something might force him to leave again. Months passed, and though he lived in the house, he never truly felt at home. One day, he finally decided to unpack everything. He arranged the rooms. He decorated the walls. He allowed himself to belong there. That was the day the house became a home. My beloved child, you are no longer in a temporary space. You are not standing at the edge of uncertainty as you once were. You have crossed the threshold. Now unpack your faith. Unpack your trust. Unpack your courage. Open fully. Release the last fragments of old fear that whisper, "Be careful." Release the final attachment to old identities that say, "This is just how you are." You are not defined by past wounds. You are not bound by former limitations. Opening fully does not mean you will never feel nervous again. It means you will not let nervousness dictate your obedience. It means you will move forward even when your voice trembles, because your foundation is no longer fear, but trust. You may still have questions. You may still see areas of your life that require growth. But growth does not require you to hold back. It requires you to engage completely. My beloved child, I did not bring you this far to watch you linger halfway. I did not lead you through restoration so you could remain cautious at the edge of abundance. I'm calling you deeper, deeper into trust, deeper into identity, deeper into relationship with me. When you open fully, you allow me access to every room of your heart. Not because I want to expose you, but because I want to strengthen you. Not because I want to control you, but because I want to complete what I have begun in you. You no longer need hidden escape routes. You no longer need emotional armor. You no longer need to prepare for disappointment as though it is inevitable. This is not the same season. You are not the same person. Stand confidently in the space I prepared. Speak boldly from the peace I placed within you. Walk fully into the calling aligned with your growth. Open fully, my beloved child. Not cautiously, not partially, obliquely. Because what I have prepared for you cannot be fully experienced through half-hearted trust. It requires your whole heart, your whole faith, your whole willingness. You are safe here. You are supported here. You are strengthened here. So open fully and step into the fullness of the life, the peace, and the purpose that has been waiting for you just beyond your final hesitation. My beloved child, we have walked together through urgency, through hesitation, through surrender, through peace. You heard the knock. You felt the stirring. You laid down burdens you carried for too long. You stepped through the door. You discovered that you were not behind, not forgotten, not unprepared. And now, at the end of this moment, I speak over you not with urgency, but with blessing. There were 11 minutes left, not to frighten you, but to awaken you, not to rush you into panic, but to draw you into alignment. And you responded. You listened. You opened. You trusted. That response matters more than you know. My beloved child, remember this day. Remember this shift. Remember the moment when fear loosened its grip and faith took a step forward. This is a marker in your journey, a quiet turning point, a sacred crossing from hesitation into obedience. You will face new challenges. Life will continue to stretch you, but you will not return to who you were before this door opened. Something within you has changed. Your awareness has deepened. Your trust has strengthened. Your identity has steadied. You now know that my knock is love. You now know that urgency can carry peace. You now know that obedience opens spaces that fear could never access. Carry that knowledge with you. When doubt tries to revisit, remember the clarity you felt here. When fear attempts to speak loudly again, remember the peace that met you when you opened the door. When you wonder if heaven sees you, remember that heaven leans toward you. My beloved child, I bless your steps forward. I bless your mind with clarity. I bless your heart with steadiness. I bless your hands with purpose. I bless your voice with confidence. I bless your home with peace. May what once tried to limit you lose its power completely. May what I have planted within you grow boldly. May opportunities align in ways that confirm my guidance again and again. You are not walking alone. You are not stepping into uncertainty without support. You are moving forward under my covering, with my presence surrounding you. And now, as this message settles into your spirit, let it not remain only with you. If these words strengthen you, allow them to travel farther. Let them reach someone who is still standing at their own unopened door. Let them awaken another heart that is waiting for confirmation. Do not hide the light you have received. My beloved child, I seal this moment with assurance. I seal your decision with peace. I seal your path with purpose. Walk boldly. Trust deeply. Love freely. Remain open. And whenever you hear my knock again, you will recognize it. I am with you in every hour. I am for you in every season. I am guiding you in every step. Amen. My beloved child, this moment has been sealed, but the mission continues. The 11 minutes awakened you. Now let your response echo beyond this hour. When you gave through super thanks, stand in membership, or sow through the PayPal link in the description, you become a steward of the light you receive. Your generosity is seed, and I am the Lord of the harvest. What you release becomes fire that spreads, oil that sustains, rivers that do not run dry. I declare over you now, the open hand will not lack. The willing heart will not be forsaken. The faithful giver will see increase. This is not obligation. It is covenant partnership. If you have been waiting for a sign to act, this is it. Let your gratitude move. Let your faith respond. Support this work now, and watch how I multiply both the seed and the sower.